Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really big idea in the world of data, self-service BI. It's this concept that's absolutely packed with promise, but as many of you have probably experienced, it's also loaded with some serious and often totally hidden challenges.
So at its core, self-service BI is built on this really powerful dream, right? The dream of democratizing data. The whole point is to make every single user autonomous so they can make data-driven decisions on their own without having to get in a long queue for the central data team. But here's the question. Is that dream of total data democracy actually possible? Let's unpack that. All right, we're going to break this down into 6 parts. We'll kick things off with the dream. Then we'll get into the weeds of why it so often just descends into chaos. But you're going to want to stick around because we'll end by laying out a really powerful, community-driven solution that can not only bring order, but more importantly, create some real valuable knowledge. Okay, so your organization has bought into the dream of self-service. Fantastic. But almost right away, you slam into the first big wall, the governance dilemma. And this is that classic tug-of-war between giving people freedom and, well, maintaining control. It's a balancing act that honestly trips up so many companies. And you can see the tension right here. On one side, you've got user freedom. That's the rocket fuel, right? It's what gives you empowerment, speed, and those amazing new discoveries. But on the other side, you've got the shield of data governance, and that's absolutely essential for trust, for consistency, for security. It really is a paradox. Give people too much freedom, you get chaos, but clamp down with too much control and you kill the very innovation you were trying to spark in the first place.
But let's just imagine for a second that you actually nail that balancing act. You'd think you're in the clear, but the problems, they don't stop there. As we're about to see, there are much deeper, kind of hidden challenges that can quietly sabotage your entire self-service plan.
So first off, we have got to bust this myth of the expert user. The idea that anyone can just grab a BI tool and suddenly become a data wizard, it's a fantasy. It takes this really rare combination of technical skill and deep business knowledge. And when we pretend that's not the case, we get the second problem, this digital graveyard of abandoned reports. You know what I mean? Dashboards that get built for one single meeting, they're used once, and then they're just left to rot, creating this massive layer of confusion.
Now this chart, this reveals another huge hidden problem, the time squeeze. We have these big expectations for business users to go out and find these game-changing insights, but look at the reality. They are spending 85% of their data time just on standard keep-the-lights-on reporting. That leaves this tiny little 15% sliver for the actual deep thinking, the exploration, the discovery that drives a business forward. They just don't have the time to do both their main job and be an explorer. And finally, we have the ultimate killer of good ideas, organizational silos. Picture this. A brilliant analyst over in marketing figures out a whole new way to look at customer churn. But that discovery, not just the final insight, but the clever method they use to find it, it just stays locked up in the marketing department. The rest of the company never even hears about it, let alone learns from it.
So with all this chaos and all these hidden problems, where in the world do you start? Well, the first step to taming this beast is to bring in a model for order. And most successful organizations do this by setting up a really clear, tiered structure for all their reports and dashboards.
This model brings some much-needed order by clearly defining who owns what. So at the very top, you have governed reports. These are the big ones, enterprise-wide, often really complex or dealing with sensitive data, and they're owned by the central data team. In the middle, you have team reports, built by business experts for their own department. And then at the bottom, there are personal reports for any user's own individual one-off questions. What's cool is that a really great personal report can actually get promoted up the ladder to become a team or even a governed asset.
Okay, a tiered system like that is a fantastic start. It really does bring order from chaos. But here's the million-dollar question. Does just organizing your reports actually create any new value or knowledge? Let's dig into that.
And this question, this gets right to the heart of the whole problem. A tiered system is great for digital housekeeping, for tidying up, but it doesn't magically give your people more time. It doesn't break down those silos we talked about, and it doesn't automatically improve their analytical skills. So,
How do you cross that chasm between just managing data and actually generating breakthrough insights?
The answer, as it turns out, isn't another piece of software or a new policy. It's actually a human solution. It's about intentionally building something that cuts across all those roles and silos, a dedicated internal community of data champions. So who's in this community? Well, of course you've got your natural candidates, your business analysts and data scientists. But, and this is the secret sauce, you also bring in high-potential people from all over the business. Think about accountants, product managers, financial controllers, auditors. These are the people who live and breathe the business context. They're the ones who know how to ask the right questions of the data. Now, you can't just create a community like this, pat yourself on the back, and walk away. It's not going to run itself. It has to be actively nurtured, some people call it animated, if you want it to deliver real, breakthrough value for the entire organization. The team that leads this community has to act less like a help desk and more like a product management team for internal analytics. Their job is to track the skills and needs of their members, to constantly feed them with info on the latest platform features and best practices, and, this is the most important part, to select and promote the most valuable discoveries that come out of the community, making sure they get the visibility they deserve across the whole company. And this brings us right back around to that original promise. The whole point of self-service BI was never just about offloading work from the central IT team. As this quote says, it's a vision. It's about deliberately building an engine inside your company that generates new knowledge and uncovers opportunities you didn't even know were there.
So that really leaves us with one final big question to think about for your own organization. Is your data strategy just about creating reports that tell you what already happened? Or is it about building a system, a community that is actively discovering your future?